Hey, this is Bug, and I'm getting ready to do an 8,000 mile motorcycle adventure across the United States and back on my 2023 Moto Guzzi V85TT. What could possibly go wrong? So I'll be leaving Portland, Oregon on or about June 5th, 2025. I'll be taking a northerly route to get to Cape Cod. So basically, I'll be going from Oregon through Washington, through a little bit of Idaho, Montana, what's next? North Dakota, I don't know, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, not necessarily in that order. Then I'll pop through a little bit of Canada, and that'll jet me out on the other side over towards Rochester, New York. I'll go from Rochester, New York, all the way down to Cape Cod. Once I get to Cape Cod, I'll spend a long weekend with my old high school friends. And then from there, I'll pop up and see my mom. And then I'm heading out to come home. The long way. Or at least the unplanned way. My first stop will be in Gill, Massachusetts, probably. In Gill, Massachusetts, there is a shop called AJ Cycle. And they have a very experienced Moto Guzzi mechanic there who said that they would be happy to do my 6,000 mile service. Because when I hit Gill, Massachusetts, I'll be just at about 6,000 miles on this motorcycle. From there, I have a few options. One option, and I'm curious to know if you think that this is interesting, a company named Janus Motorcycles out of Goshen, Indiana, reached out to me and said, hey, do you want to swing by, take a couple of our bikes for a ride, hang out with some of the company leadership and talk motorcycles? And I said, who? So I looked Janus Motorcycle up and actually knew who they were. I just kind of had forgot. But they make these bikes that are very cool looking, but I know nothing about them. And so thinking I might stop in Goshen, Indiana and test drive some, what are they called? Janus motorcycles. Is that something that would be interesting to you? For some reason, I want to go from there to like Peoria. I've never been to Peoria. I have no real reason to want to go there, but I don't know. Sounds like fun. The only other thing I really have on my docket is I want to ride the Lolo Pass. And so I might go from wherever I am towards the end, straight to the Lolo Pass, and ride the Lolo Pass, and then come home. All told, this trip is going to be somewhere between 7,000 and 8,000 miles. It's going to be nearly a month, and I'm doing it on a bike that I've only ridden 1,800 miles on so far. 1,884 miles I have on this Moto Guzzi V85TT. So let's talk a little bit about the bike. So the bike I chose for my cross-country adventure is the Moto Guzzi V85TT Adventure Model. It's a 2023. I bought it, a month ago now? Something like that. I traded my Triumph Tiger 900 Rally Pro for this. And I know that some people think I'm absolutely insane for doing that. But for me, it was a fantastic decision. This motorcycle is perfect for what I want. The Tiger 900 was a bit too much. It was capable of way more than I was capable of. Me and this motorcycle feel pretty evenly matched. Plus, it looks like a hot mess and I love that. It sounds great. It rides fantastic. It's got just about everything I need. It's got cruise control, it's got a USB thingy, it's got plenty of places to attach stuff to on the back. You know, the only thing that is sort of lacking for long distance touring is the windscreen, and I solved that with this, I was going to say cheap piece of plastic, but it wasn't cheap at all. But it was the only one I could find on Amazon that came with metal brackets. I think it's made by Moto or something, I don't know. Doesn't matter. It totally solves the wind buffeting problem I had been having with this low screen. Now, I get just about the perfect amount of wind that I want, because I think it's going to be kind of hot on some of this trip, and so I got air conditioning. Something. Except for the first day, I've had zero problems with my Moto Guzzi. The first day I had it, I looked down and it was gushing gasoline all over my right boot. And I said, this doesn't feel right. There's something about this that seems a little off. So I took it to the shop and they realized that a hose hadn't been connected correctly at the factory or something like that. They fixed it up and I had it back within hours. And since then, I've not had one single problem with this motorcycle. So while I don't know what the long-term reliability of this motorcycle is going to be, in the almost 2,000 miles that I've ridden it, it's been super reliable. So let's just hope that that continues, because I have the mechanical acumen of a dead rat. I'm not good at mechanical things, is what I'm trying to say. So, got that going for me. We'll go in for its 6,000 mile service, either in Gill, Massachusetts, or if I end up going to Janus Motorcycles, they offered to do it for me as well. They're not a Moto Guzzi dealer, but this is the motorcycle. It just needs oil and potentially the valves checked. So I think they could probably handle it. I could probably handle it if, I knew how to turn a wrench. I don't. So a couple of great things about touring on this motorcycle. One is the range. It's got a range of somewhere around 275 miles. And I've tested this. Because it's got like a 6-gallon gas tank. It's fantastic. By comparison, I think my Triumph Scrambler 900 gets, 140 miles on a good day? I don't know. Something like that. Anyway, this thing has plenty of range. It's fun to ride, so it's agile. Like in the twisties and stuff, it's going to be fun to ride. It's perfectly fine on the highway. It does pretty much everything you would ever want in a touring bike. I've taken it off-road a number of times, and I've never had a problem. Now, I'm not, climbing Everest with the damn thing, but I'm doing the exact kind of roads that I would want to do ever, and it handles it great. And it's still on stock tires. They're like the Yannicky Adventure tires or something. I'm not really sure. But for stock tires, they're fantastic. So essentially what I've been doing, and I'm doing it today, is a bunch of shakedown runs. Basically taking the bike out, loading it up with gear and whatever gadgetry and stuff for cameras, just to make sure that I have my systems all in place for when I leave, because I don't want to be fidgeting and learning along the way. I want to have all my stuff dialed in. And so that sort of leads me to talking about the gear that I'm going to be bringing on this trip. I've been pretty lucky so far. 2 companies have come forward and really helped me out. The first company is this company called Chigee, or Chigee. They make what is arguably the best CarPlay, Android Auto, motorcycle display thingy that you can possibly buy. I know this because I have their previous version of this, and I have 2 or 3 others from different companies that are terrible. This one is absolutely fantastic. Now, it could be argued that it doesn't really fall in line with my ethos of trying to be as minimal as possible, and I get that. However, this is sort of the mental mind games I've been playing with myself ever since I started planning this trip. Sort of the balance between the practical and the romantic side of motorcycle touring. Now, I know that sounds dramatic, but follow me here. The practical side of me says you need this thing because it's going to provide navigation, and it's good in emergencies to know where you are. You can do all kinds of stuff. You can track your rides, all that stuff. The romantic side of me says ditch all of the electronics and just go bare bones, right? I'm not willing to make that compromise with this, I've decided. I'm keeping this on the bike. I love it. It eases my mind knowing where I am and where I'm going. Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to plan out every second of my trip. It also doesn't mean that it's permanently attached. One of the nice things about the new Chigee is that it's removable. You press a little button in the back and the whole thing just pops right off. You can stick it in a bag and you don't have to look at it, and only take it out when you need it. So I think that's kind of fantastic. One of the reasons I find the Chigee invaluable for this particular adventure that I'm going on this bike is that it provides some information that I wouldn't otherwise get through the normal TFT. In fact, it's not available anywhere. One is engine temperature. Now, this is a air-cooled bike. It's not water-cooled, so that's kind of important. As is the battery voltage. That's not available anywhere, so now I have a state of my battery. I also have tire pressure monitoring, so I can tell the health of my tires just by looking down. That was one of the things that convinced me that I wanted to take this as opposed to not having any gadgets, is the ability to actually get a good read of the health of my bike. It's pretty fantastic. Other sort of decision points that I've had to make as far as, the practical versus the romantic is, well, stuff like this jacket, right? I love this jacket. I love it so much. It's so comfortable, it fits me perfectly, it's all broken in from thousands of miles of riding. And this is the jacket that I want to take on my adventure. However, I also own an Alpine Stars Bogota Pro or something like that. It makes me look like someone I'm not when I wear it. However, it's like 3 jackets in one. It's just a jacket. It's got a liner, so it makes it sort of like a winter jacket. It's also got a rain shell, so it makes a waterproof jacket. And then in the summer, like pretty much everything zips down or whatever, so the whole thing is completely vented. It's the perfect jacket. I'm not bringing it. I don't think. I think I'm bringing this jacket because this jacket makes me happy, and it's a compromise I'm willing to make between the practical and the romantic. The romantic side of me says, bring your black leather jacket and ride across the country in your black leather jacket. So that's what I'm doing. Now, I want to talk to you a little bit about this jacket because a number of you have asked me about this jacket and like who makes it, what version is it, and do I like it? And so let me tell you a little bit about it. First of all, this is a Merlin jacket. Merlin does not sponsor the channel at all. I paid for this with my own money. And as I've said a number of times, I love it. It's just the perfect jacket in so many ways. However, the inside of it is falling apart. Specifically, and I can show you a picture, I think, the insides of the arms, the liners, they're completely shredded. It's like Edward Scissorhands went in there and went something like that. So anyway, the day I bought my Tiger 900, a Merlin sales rep happened to be at the motorcycle store where I was buying the Tiger. And we got to talking because I was wearing my jacket. Anyway, he gave me his card. I reached out to him, I don't know, a couple of months ago, a month ago, whatever it was. And I said, hey, remember me? I'm the guy who was wearing that awesome leather jacket. Well, it's falling apart. Can we talk about it? And he offered to send me a brand new one. And I said, well, okay, I wasn't really asking for a brand new one, but if you're willing to do that, that would certainly rectify the situation. But what I really wanted was just some assurance that the rest of the jacket wasn't going to fall apart, and that Merlin was aware of the fact that it has some quality control issues. Well, I never actually did receive a new jacket, or any other communication, until I reached out a couple of days ago and said, hey, dude, what's up? And I got some reply that said, oh, I'll write you back tonight, and I never heard anything again. So my point here is, if I'm being completely truthful with you, this is a great jacket, but at this point, I'm not going to recommend it on the channel anymore because I'm not 100% sure Merlin's going to stand behind their stuff. And that's really sad because I like a lot of their stuff. I have a pair of their gloves that happen to also be falling apart, unfortunately, and I've only had them less than a year. But they're fantastic gloves if they weren't falling apart. The falling apart thing is kind of a problem. But, again, you know, stuff happens, I get it. All I'm saying is I want you to know that Merlin's going to stand behind their stuff. And as of right now, I can't say that with any authority. So, until I understand more, until I know that Merlin is going to stand behind their stuff, I'm not going to recommend them anymore. However, I am going to wear this jacket, I think, across the country. Unless it falls apart more between now and then, in which case I'll probably end up just wearing the Power Ranger suit. Oh, one other thing about gear that I wanted to tell you about. I could do a more thorough review of all of the gear at some point, but there's a couple more things I wanted to tell you about. Lone Rider is another company that came through for the channel. If you're unfamiliar with Lone Rider, they make some of the best motorcycle luggage that you could possibly want to buy. I love them. I bought one of their bags a couple of years ago, and I've been hooked ever since. And I reached out to them and said, hey, is there, any chance that we could work together? And they was like, yeah, let's talk. And we talked and blah, blah, blah. And they ended up sending me almost everything in their catalog. So now I've got moto bags, the panniers. I've got this thing called an Overlander 50. I have their Overlander 30. That I absolutely love. They sent me an Overlander 50, which is a bigger version of the bag that I had originally bought. They sent me a whole mess of other stuff. So I'm totally geared up for the trip, thanks to Lone Rider. If you're interested in Lone Rider stuff, I'll put a link down in the description. If you buy anything, I think I get a little kickback or something. I don't really care about that. I care about supporting this company because they're fantastic and I love their stuff. And they've been good to me, so I want to be good to them. And I hope you all will be good to them too if you need stuff. A lot more about the Lone Rider stuff later, because that's obviously going to be a big part of my trip is the luggage. The last thing I wanted to talk about as far as gear goes is, I don't know if you can tell, but I'm wearing blue jeans right now. on a twisty road where normally I would obviously be wearing full-blown motorcycle pants. And you might be thinking, Bug, what you doing, bud? All the gear all the time. Well, do I have a little surprise for you in my pants? What? Wait, hold on. What I meant to say was, underneath these off-the-shelf Wranglers that I'm wearing, I have CE AAA rated protection. Yeah, and it's fantastic. Now, this isn't sponsored at all, but underneath these pants, I'm wearing the Pando Moto leggings. Now, you might ask me, who's Pando Moto and what are leggings? Well, I can answer one of those questions. Leggings are tights, and these ones happen to be CE AAA rated, including having padding in the knees and the hips. Now, I'm telling you all this because I think some of you might be interested in these things because they let you wear whatever the hell pants you want. It's fantastic. I don't have to worry about, first of all, looking like a Power Ranger wearing, ADV pants. I can wear hiking pants, I can wear jeans, I can wear chinos if I wanted to. It doesn't matter. You don't have to actually wear anything. You can just wear the leggings. I don't think anyone wants to see that when it comes to me, so that's not going to happen, probably. I don't know. But anyway, they're fantastic. I love them. You might be interested. I can leave a link down in the description. Again, I'm not sponsored or anything like that, but I just forget off the top of my head what the name of these are. But if you look up Pando Moto CE Level 3 leggings, you'll find these, and they're great. They are expensive. They're not cheap. But you don't have to buy motorcycle pants anymore. You can wear what you got. Just put these on underneath, and it's magic. This is the gear that Lone Rider sent me. Well, this is some of the gear that Lone Rider sent me. There's more. But I got a tank bag. I got this Overlander 50. And I've got the moto bags. These are panniers that are on Hepco and Becker racks. They're exactly 100% what I wanted, and they're going to be perfect for this trip. And this tail pack. I think I'm going to keep my camera gear that I'm using for the day in here so I can have easy access to it. Plus, in here right now is my tire patch kit and battery powered tire inflator and all that stuff. So basically some tools and my camera gear will go in there. One last thing on gear. You may be asking yourself, were you bringing a dog along? What the hell is that thing? This is my Alaska butt pad. Look at how beautiful that is. It's so comfy. I think I paid, I don't know, like $100 for it. It was like real sheepskin, natural color and everything. I know it looks ridiculous. I don't care. That's how awesome this is. I don't use it all the time. I'm using it right now because, again, I'm doing like a shakedown run and testing all the gear. This is 100% coming with me. It's so comfy. It keeps me cool. It keeps me warm. It just looks so ridiculous that I can't even stand it. I love it. So, Alaska butt pad. They're not cheap, but they're really good people. I had a chance to email back and forth with them when I was buying this, and they're super, super cool. So, Alaska butt pad. 5 stars. So that's sort of the overview of where I am as far as planning and plans. Again, I should be leaving on June 5th, and I'm planning on getting to Cape Cod probably 8 days later. We'll see what happens. On the way home, I'd really love to get your thoughts on where I should go next from point to point. We've talked about this in previous videos. I'm not sure what the best mechanism is to do this. I know that we could use the YouTube community posts and all that, but I've also heard rumblings about Discord. Do y'all use Discord? I don't really. I've dabbled in it, but I'd be more than happy to set up a Discord server if you thought that that would be a fun way to communicate back and forth as I'm on the trip, especially on the way home when I'm looking for help. Let me know in the comments if you would prefer Discord, if you would prefer to just use the YouTube community, if you prefer not to talk to me at all, that's totally fine. You're just like my wife. What? Anyway, yeah, I just think it would be fun to, like pull up to Goshen, Indiana, and then get on and be like, hey, where should I go tomorrow? Here are like 4 choices, and then someone says, well, here's a 5th choice, and I do that, and it's all kinds of fun. Also, one of the things I would love to do is potentially meet some of y'all. I know that I've had a bunch of folks say, hey, if you're in the area, swing by. But I'm not sure I'm going to be in those areas. What I will do is I'll put up a rough idea of where I think I'm going on the way home. If you have an interesting story to tell that I could tell in a video, if you have an interesting bike or something, some sort of human interesty thing that I could make a video out of, I would love to meet up. You know, like we could go on a ride together, or you could tell me a story about something incredible, motorcycle related, hopefully, touring related, even better. But let's not get particular. Anyway, am I on this road again? Well, I didn't mean to actually come back to this road, but I'm just kind of driving in circles, testing out gear, and feeling what it's like to ride this bike kind of loaded up on twisty roads, and it's fantastic. I may have mentioned this. It's a great bike. Anyway, if you haven't already, I'd love it if you'd subscribe to the channel and follow along on my cross-country adventure. I think it's going to be a good time. What could possibly go wrong? Have I said that? Yeah, I probably have. You know, that's all part of the adventure. Something's going to go wrong somewhere, and, you know, come along and watch me figure it out. Let me know if you saw anything in this video that you'd like me to do a more full-length video on. The bags, the Chigee, the spandex pants that I'm wearing underneath my jeans, my Indie Ridge gloves, any of that stuff. The motorcycle, you want to know more about the GOOOO? I've got a lot more to tell you about the GOOOO. So, let me know in the comments, and I'll catch you on the next one. I'm gonna go wash my GOOOO.